Hi, welcome to FilmSauce. I'm FilmSauce, and in this Sauce video we're looking at Fallout, released in 2024. Directed by Jonathan Nolan, brother of the big man himself, and written by, mainly, Graham Wagner and Geneva Robertson DeWarre. Fallout is a show about humans from all corners of the US living through this post-apocalyptic world. Throughout this show, I'll also reward or negate source points, and at the end of the video, I'll tally them up to see how saucy this movie truly is. Now, eat some Blamco mac and cheese and relax to FilmSauce Fallout. The first episode starts off with a nice message for what's coming up, which is followed by us watching some little boy's party, which is being attended by a Cooper Howard and his daughter, Janie, who are entertainers for all these children and adults. Once all the party goers go inside for TV and cake, Cooper and Janie talk about thumbs up and all that, until Janie asks for cake, and Cooper successfully scavenges some cake, but he is deemed not worth it, as a big smoke cloud erupts over the city, followed by a massive shockwave. Now, mayhem holds the party as everyone runs around while Cooper and Janie ride away on horseback, with a perfect view of 3 more mushroom clouds. 219 years later, we meet Lucy McLean, who is in the middle of trying to convince the council of Vault 33 to be able to marry someone from Vault 32, and she is given the okay. The wedding is now being set up. Dresses, lights, chairs, the whole shebang. Now Lucy goes to meet Vault 32 with some comfort beforehand from the Vault overseer, her own father, Hank McLean, and also about some anxieties from her brother Norm. After some hiccup with Chet, the door opener or whatever, Vault 33 meets up with Vault 32, and Lucy meets her husband, Monty. Lucky. The two marry, and after some dinner with the strange Vault 32ers, who are dying for some food, the two lovebirds go up to their future home, where they immediately get down to it. Norm, while his sisters get it down, uses Sneak 100 to go into Vault 32, which looks as bad as the wasteland itself, and the dead vault dwellers don't help the vibe. After the dirty is done and screams echo through the halls, Monty attacks Lucy, stabbing her, but Lucy introduces glass to the raider's head and neck. After healing up, Lucy patrols around her bloodied vault, getting a tranq gun and entering the battle. The very gruesome battle. After Lucy witnesses her dad kill Monty, the two run to Vault 32, where both are taken hostage with some fellow vault dwellers, where Dad must choose Lucy or the vault dwellers, and Lucy is chosen to hide out in this room, but her dad is taken away while a bomb goes off, causing the vault dwellers to run and hide and Vault 32 to be blocked off. Now we are above the vaults, in the wasteland, watching some guy called Maximus get beat up. But hey, it's time for class, where Maximus gets beat up some more and learns to be a Brotherhood of Steel, which is probably the most popular and well-known faction from the Fallout games. But class is interrupted by an airship of the Brotherhood, who show off their power armor. Now after a good nap, Maximus gets up to scream and yelling, but is no enemy, just a bunch of people from Brotherhood 101 who got promoted as squires, including Maximus's friend, Dane, making Maximus pretty jealous and grumpy. But is he grumpy enough to cause pain to Dane? Because in the morning, Dane has a razor in their boot, cutting Dane's leg up, and Maximus is taken into custody. Back with Lucy, she is at an assembly of fellow Vault Dwellers, where she brings up sending a search party to the wasteland to find her dad, but alas, the Vault Council shuts her down, and she decides, fine, I'll do it myself. So she gathers Norm and Chet, and the three go to the vault door, where Chet is tranked so he doesn't follow Lucy into the wasteland, and she goes out to freedom alone. Outside, Lucy is met with sand, bones, and ruins, and the Ferris wheel from GTA 5. Back with Maximus, he's interrogated for the attack of Dane, but Maximus denies involvement and is hired as Squire in place of Dane. But to make the promotion final, Maximus is branded. And now it's time for the first mission, which is to find a scientist from the Enclave, which is an organization from the games, where it is basically a shadow government, and generally the bad guys. But now Maximus and his knight, called Titus, enter a vertibird ready for the mission. Now, 3 men enter a graveyard and open up a mutant's grave, revealing some cowboy ghoul who he's seen before at the beginning, when he still had a nose and nice flesh. The ghoul is now given a bounty of the escaped Enclave scientist, and as a thanks for the job, the ghoul kills the 3 men, ending episode 1, and how I'll give 3 source points for how well the showrunners capture the feeling of Fallout, which is great to see and makes you wish other video game adaptations managed to do that. Episode 2. The episode starts off with the Enclave scientist raising his cute little dog and making some kind of blue chip or something that he injects into his neck. But hey, life continues, nice and never mind. The scientist and Dogmeat escape the Enclave and its turrets with horrendous aim. Now we are back with Lucy, patrolling the wasteland and seeing the sights. But once night comes, she makes a fire to stay warm and sleep. But the sleep is cut short because of Dogmeat and the scientist, who tells Lucy to go home because Vault Dwellers are an endangered species. But Lucy needs to find her dad, so after this sweet conversation, the doc just leaves. Catching up with Maximus and Knight Titus, they leave the vertibird miles away from their set location, where they end up where the scientist once was, finding some clues and a radioactive monster bear, or a yogi bear, which has cut up Knight Titus pretty badly, but Maximus kills it and saves Knight Titus. Never mind, Maximus lets Titus bleed out, but now, because of letting him bleed out, Maximus has the power armor, and he plays around with the armor and saves a chicken fucker.
The guy was fucking my chickens.
Now we are with Lucy, who is now in the settlement of Philly, meeting with Ma June, who laughs at Lucy for being a Vault Dweller. But June gets down to business when Lucy names the raider Moldaver, who is the leader of the raiders who raided her vault. But June just tells Lucy to leave, and threatens Lucy till she leaves, but not before she runs back into the Enclave scientist. But out of the shadows emerges the ghoul, with his great recognizable theme that I have to add 1 source point for. The ghoul begins the gunfight by blowing off the scientist's leg, which is followed up by the ghoul blowing everyone else up. Lucy goes inside Marjune's shop and snoops through her logbook, finding some clues on Moldaver, then going to save the scientist, but it's useless.
Treatment of this man appears unfair, and I'm obliged to intervene.
Hey, Maximus in power armor is here to save the day, resuming the fight against the ghoul, while June makes the scientist a new foot, and a new plan for Lucy Lucy to take the scientist to Moldova to potentially bargain with her for her dad. Now the fight between Maximus and the ghoul is put to a stop once Maximus gets his leg stuck, letting the ghoul close to the armor and cutting a wire. But Maximus kind of just flies and escapes. Now, during the fight, the ghoul did a dick move and stabbed Dogmeat. Very sad. But after the fight, the ghoul healed Dogmeat because he is such an empath. Never mind, he's using Dogmeat as a tracker to the scientist. Talking about the scientist, he's in just a bit too much pain to carry on, so he has some game over pills instructing Lucy to cut off his head and give it to Moldova. Because that's what they want. Episode 3. Episode 3 starts off to the past, before the Great Wars and the nuclear fallout, where we meet back up with normal human Cooper Howard in the middle of filming the movie. But that doesn't matter. What really matters is his wife here, Barb, played by the actress from the hit movie Benji and the Dove. Back to the future. Now we are with the ghoul and the headless body of the scientist. Oh, and don't forget Dogmeat. The ghoul is visibly sickened, besides the missing nose and flesh. But, I mean, he's coughing all over the place. This is an important plot point for all ghouls in the show, because all ghouls need to take Radaway, a medicine that rids of radiation. The reason they take this is so radiation doesn't go to their head and make them feral. But for now, the ghoul ain't feral and he continues his hunt for the scientist. Now we are with Maximus, trying to figure a way to fix up his power armor. And while doing so, he finds and talks through a Brotherhood radio, claiming to be Knight Titus, and that his squire, well, aka himself, died. And because this, the Brotherhood sends another squire. To fix the armor, Maximus goes into the town to someone who can fix the broken part, but he doesn't have enough caps. So he quickly sells some teeth and gets the part fixed. But once upon his return to the power armor, is getting looted by some scavengers who all group up and beat Maximus to the ground. But Maximus gets up with some scrapped weapons, and the scavengers attack one at a time instead of as a group. So he beats a few until they throw him against the power armor, which he uses to pop on the scavengers' heads like a pimple and scare the last attackers away. But now the replacement squire is here, and it's Thaddeus, one of Maximus's bullies. So to continue with the Titus lie, Maximus puts on the power armor and makes Thaddeus his little bitch. We are with the Vault Dweller, who has the scientist's head, which has a tracker placed snug up his nose. And on her travel, Lucy finds a beautiful baby deer that dies immediately. And this beast attacks Lucy, but lets her live, grabbing the head as a nice snack. Lucy has no time to attempt to get the head back though, as a ghoul appears to take her hostage. Now we are back with Lucy's brother, Norm. As punishment for helping Lucy escape the vault, Chet is fired from being the gatekeeper, and Norm, who doesn't even care about anything, is just given the job to give food to the raider prisoners. Now the Vault 33ers have an assembly, while the Vault Dwellers talk about what to do about the prisoners. Most want to rehabilitate the prisoners and read some Shakespeare, but some, including Norm, wants to just end the prisoners' lives. The problem also keeps piling up with the water problem. With water supply being limited, only being able to keep everyone alive for 2 months. But this whole water problem for some reason doesn't come up again, or is even important to season 1. So -1 source. But Lucy is now all tied up by the ghoul, using her as bait for the sea monster axolotl thing with fingers in its mouth. And after a few tries at dumping Lucy in the water, the axolotl finally appears, and instead of using his explosive pistol gun, the ghoul kind of just pokes it with a stick. This fight goes on for a bit till the axolotl retreats, but bad news for the ghoul because all of his Radaway vials were broken. So the ghoul takes Lucy and they walk on away to find more vials. Maximus and Thaddeus are on the trail to the head. When they have a little heart-to-heart, Thaddeus, who had always bullied Maximus, admits that Maximus was a good guy. He didn't really want to beat him up. But Thaddeus himself used to get beat up, and he knew he could get out of it by convincing the bullies to beat up Maximus. The two are now in the axolotl water lake, where they immediately are attacked by the axolotl, which is munching down on Thaddeus. So Maximus and the axolotl just play tug of war with Thaddeus until the monster throws up and dies. And in the remains of the throw up is the head, making the Brotherhood boys very happy indeed. The ghoul and the hostage now patrol the wasteland, with Lucy dying and the ghoul not giving a single F. But this all sends them back 200 years ago, for a flashback where Cooper is all dressed up in a Vault suit ready for a great Vault Tech advertisement photo shoot, where he makes his signature thumbs up, inspiring the famed logo of the whole Fallout series, the Vault Boy. Episode 4. The episode picks off right where episode 3 left off, following Lucy and the ghoul. They continue walking around the wasteland until they hear someone yelling their name. It's Roger. The person yelling is a ghoul in a hell of a lot of pain. Reason why is because he is turning feral. But to stop Roger from turning into a feral monster, the ghoul kind of just blows his brains out and forces Lucy to skin Roger's ass for a nice little road snack. Ass jerky, my favourite. Back into Vault 33, there is a vote of overseer coming up between the 3 council members, putting up campaign posters everywhere. But one of the council members, Betty, is chilling with Norm, when Norm confesses how during the raid he just hid and didn't fight, and is just so angry. Betty though gives some cautious words, how a regular boy when angry pisses on the wall, while a smart boy like Norm gets angry. Well, shit happens. With Chet again, he has a guest at his door, and Stephanie, Lucy's best pregnant friend, with a dead eye from the raid attack, and an even more dead husband. Talking about the husband, Stephanie has brought all of his stuff to give to Chet, dressing him up as her dead husband to have sex with until her water breaks. Ass jerky in pockets and back on the road, the ghoul and Lucy continue the road trip, where Lucy finally gives in and drinks some radioactive water, making the ghoul happy, somewhat, that she is adapting to the wasteland, and soon enough she'll become just like him. But the ghoul enters a coughing fit, and seeing her chance, Lucy runs for it, but she gets lassoed and bites the ghoul's finger off, so as a nice trade, he cuts her finger off. The ghoul now guides Lucy to a super duper mart, a pretty known location from some of the Fallout games, where he trades her to some guys for 2 months worth of Radaway. Lucy walks on into the super duper mart when the ghoul just kind of falls over due to lack of Radaway. And inside the super duper mart, Lucy runs into Snip Snip, a nice automaton who kindly attaches a new finger to Lucy, and as payment, Snip Snip wants to harvest her organs, and he tranks her. Now with Norm again, we watch him do his job, but one of the raiders speak up, telling Norm that the people from Vault 32 weren't innocent. Intrigued by this, Norm grabs Chet to investigate the vault, much to Chet's somewhat delight, as he gets to go away from the in-labour Stephanie. The two reach Vault 32 and walk around the Vault Dweller graveyard, figuring out what happened in Vault 32 happened well before the raiders, and graffitied on the wall is "We know the truth." But, it would have been nice if they wrote the truth on the wall, but you know, it's a TV show. The two continue on to the overseer's office, where Norm uses the terminal to figure out how the raiders got in. But the door was opened from the outside with a Pip-Boy, and that Pip-Boy belongs to Norm and Lucy's mum, Rose McLean. All trained up, Lucy has brief memories of her mother, but there is no time to reminisce as she passes imprisoned ghouls and two nice business owners to the surgery room, where the robot uses a saw to try cut Lucy up and harvest her, but she kicks the saw and dodges it, finally dealing a finishing blow to the robot with a defibrillator. Lucy confronts the business owners, using Snip Snip as a hostage, which doesn't work. She switches to plan B by using Snip Snip as a poison dart weapon, which works, so the business owners agree to let her free and some ghouls, including the feral ones. The feral ones immediately kill the business owners, who also kill all the feral ghouls, except one, who attacks Lucy, but she falls back onto a gun and deals a deathly blow to the monster. Lucy leaves the Super Duper Mart, running into the ghoul, and she says how she'll never become like him, and kindly gives the ghoul some right away, then she leaves. The ghoul, all healed up, wanders around the Super Duper Mart, taking as much right away as he could want, to the point where this plotline disappears for the rest of the show. They have a nasty habit of that. But the ghoul doesn't care, as he finds one of his old movies before the nukes fell. So the ghoul watches his old perfect face as he chugs down some juicy right away. This is the life. And that is FilmSauce Fallout Part 1. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on Part 2, where I'll finish the other half of this series and tally up the source points. Also, chuck us a like and maybe even a comment. Those can be interesting. But I hope I'll see you around again. Goodbye.